or Great Recession or whatever it is we're fucking going through at this point in time. They call it whatever they want. Nobody knows what the fuck's happening. Nobody has a clue as to what's going on economically. I don't know what they want to call these economic times, but I've never seen anything like it or been through anything like it in my entire fucking life. We went right into the shitter, and nobody, not one leader, warned us. Not a one. Not a Democrat and not a Republican. I think another lesson that can be learned from this is fairly simple, that you should expect from your leader the same thing you'd expect from an experienced canoe guide. We'll be going down that fork in the river because if we go down that one, there's a fucking waterfall. I knew that we were heading toward the shitter, and I know nothing. And I knew. And I can guarantee that everybody in this room who had a job and for 40 hours, working 40 hours a week, I can guarantee a year before the shit hit the fan, you were sitting in the office and either you said it or someone in your office at some point turned to you and went, I think we're fucked. And the reason was because what made it so obvious was the housing bubble. It was like the 47th bubble of my lifetime. And every time the bubble bursts, and everybody goes, wow, how fucked, wow, right. Gee, who thought? Everybody knew there was a housing bubble. You'd be in a neighborhood, you go, gee, that house cost $60,000 last year. Well, and now it costs $600,000? What did they do? Well, they put a gazebo in the back. And it's made entirely of human scrotums. It's the most comfortable place to sit in town. The amazing thing is that no one, not one leader talked about it. Not one leader discussed where we were headed. Not a one. They all said it was going to be okay. All I heard for the course of the campaign was that everything was going to be all right because capitalism is the most wonderful economic system ever developed because it was developed by God Himself for us. There's nothing more splendid than capitalism. It is a beautiful garden, a garden that irrigates itself and fertilizes itself. And it needs no sunlight because it basks in the glory of its own reflection. There's nothing more wondrous than the garden that is capitalism. And if it is left entirely unregulated, that garden will grow and grow and grow until all of us share in its beautiful fruit. And so I went to bed every night dreaming about my beautiful fruit. And then I woke up one morning and there was the Secretary of the Treasury standing behind the White House at the back door as if he was trying to get away. Holy fuck! We're fucked, he said. We're completely fucked, son of a bitch. I don't know what happened to the garden, but it's a piece of shit now. What's that hand coming up your ass? It's looking for quarters. Put straws in your nose. The river of shit is rising. Start pulling out your gold fillings and put them on eBay. I'm getting the fuck out of here. Then he ran around the White House 3 times with his hair on fire. And all I wondered was, what happened that night? I guess he was sitting in front of his computer, finishing his last online math course from Phoenix University. When he reached that eureka moment. Son of a bitch, he cried, 60 isn't 40. Many people blamed what happened economically on the people who they say who couldn't afford rent and bought homes. Those are the fuckers. Those fuckers are the ones. Those broke fuckers fucked everything. Really? It was them? What bullshit. It takes a lot of balls to blame them because you gotta be out of your fucking mind. You're gonna tell me if you were broke and somebody came to you and said, look, I know you can't pay rent. Want a house? No, I'm gonna continue to live on the grate in my box. Spring is coming, I hate to miss it. Many congressmen said that they felt the problem was created by those sons of bitches who didn't read their mortgages. Whoever has. You don't read your own mortgage. That's why we have lawyers. You hire a lawyer or a paralegal. Or if you're really broke, you hire somebody who's fucking a paralegal. But you're not gonna read your mortgage. That's why we have lawyers. They study a language for 3 years and they learn it, and it's a language that if a normal person read it, they'd have a stroke. I tried to read my own mortgage. On the last page, there was actually the outline of a boat with a squirrel in it. What the fuck's that about? Well, I gotta color it in. Well, keep it in the lines, fucker. I've tried to read my mortgage. It's 100 pages long, okay? And it's 100 pages and there's no punctuation. It's just like, it's a run-on sentence. It's like driving a car without brakes. You go, oh! I got through the third line and I had my first out-of-body experience. I hovered over my body and I had to promise myself I wouldn't read the fourth line and then I could re-enter myself. What caused this economic crisis is greed. It's purely and simply greed. That's where it lies. There is no discussion of that. That's what we've done over the course of my lifetime. One of the things that my country seems to have done is perfect greed. You think Enron and WorldCom, you thought, wow, can't get any more fucked up than that. Ha, 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 ha. Bernie Madoff, that reads like fucking fiction. And if you read it as fiction, you go, well, his last name's Madoff. That's bullshit. You gotta be kidding me. I'm not gonna finish this book. It's greed. There was one of the great financial houses that sunk like the Titanic, was run by this guy named Thane, and just before the boat sunk, he gave those who worked in his office bonuses, like a month before. Like, here's a bonus for blowing up the engine room. And he spent $1.5 million just before the whole thing goes to ruin on his office, on redoing his office, redecorating it. Really, $1.5 million? Are you fucking kidding me? If if I had $1.5 million to do a financial houses off, if I ran a financial house, which I'm fucking thinking of doing because it's easier than this shit. Yeah, sure, give me that check. Don't worry about a thing. So I'd have a chair for who I have to talk to, a desk, my chair, and then the rest of the office would be filled with a giant aquarium. And in the aquarium would be a huge white shark. And I would have an intern, very cute, up on a ladder and with chunks of meat and throw it at the shark. And the shark go, and when he finished eating all the meat, the intern would dive in, eat the shark, and then rub my back. How good is that? It'd certainly fuck with the guy sitting in front of me, wouldn't it? So, he spent $63,000 on a credenza. By your silence, I realize none of you know what the fuck that is. And few people do. I'm 60 and no one has ever called me and said, Lou, you must come see my new credenza. Apparently, it's a glorified office file cabinet. I always thought that the credenza were the two bones just above your ass bone. As in, my credenza's acting up, I must see the chiropractor. And if they had a piece of furniture made entirely out of bones, that might be worth $63,000. $87,000 for an area rug. I know what an area rug is. It's a rug that covers an area. If I spent $87,000 on an area rug, that rug should be woven from the pubic hair of virgins. Yes. And I should have a leather-bound book with photos of the women who contributed to my rug. And I would keep that leather-bound book in my credenza.